Hi, this is Eric Smith. Time to do another quick look video, and I thought I would do it from the book of Numbers, chapter 21, verses 33 through 35. And the Word of God reads this way: And they turned and went up by the way to Bashan. So Og, king of Bashan, went out against them, he and all his people, to battle at Andrea. Then the Lord said to Moses, Do not fear him, for I have delivered him into your hand, with all his people and his land, and you shall do to him as you did to Sihon king of the Amorites, who dwelt at Heshbon. So they defeated him, his sons, and all his people, until there was no survivor left him, and they took possession of his land. In chapter 21 of Numbers, you have an account of the nation of Israel literally going to the king of the Amorites, Sihon, in verse 21, and they wanted to pass through. They said, Let us just go by. We're not going to turn aside into your fields or vineyards. We will not drink your water or wells. We will go by the king's highway until we have passed through your territory. So they're basically just asking for safe passage through. They did not want to disrupt the Amorites. They didn't want to give them any trouble. They just wanted to pass through. And yet Sihon, the king of the Amorites, refused. And not only did he refuse, he went out and he attacked Israel because of it. And then Israel fought Sihon, the king of the Amorites, and everybody that was with him, and they defeated them. And Israel took possession of their land. So when we get to verse 33, we see that as they turned and went up by the way to Bashan, because they're still just moving, it says, So Og, king of Bashan, went out against them, he and all his people, to battle at Enri. Now, Og, the king of Bashan, was another Amorite king. And he decided, hey, I'm going to fight against Israel as well. And then verse 34 says, Then the Lord said to Moses, so the Lord speaking directly to Moses, Do not fear him. Did you catch what God's telling Moses? Do not fear him, for I have delivered him into your hand. Even before the battle begins, God already lets Moses know that Israel will defeat Og, and he's going to deliver Og and everybody that's with Og into the hands of the Israelites. And he says, With all his people and his land, and you shall do to him as you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt at Heshbon. Notice God is telling them, not only don't be afraid of them, I'm going to deliver them into your hands, you're going to defeat Og the same way that you defeated what? Sihon, king of the Amorites. So then in verse 35 it says, So they, and that's the nation of Israel, defeated him, and that's Og, his sons, and all his people, until there was no survival left him. So there was no survivor left to Og. The children of Israel literally wiped them out. And they took possession of his land. So we see that the Lord went before the people, already told the people that he's going to deliver their enemies into their hands. They went out and fought Og and his people, and they defeated him. Dear Christian, in the Old Testament, you're going to see accounts where the nation of Israel sometimes disobeys God. And they're punished for that. But then there's other times when the nation of Israel is just doing the right thing. All they wanted to do was pass by the land. They didn't want to start any trouble. But not only did the Amorites didn't want them to pass through, but also went against them in battle. And God was with them. Now in these verses, it says he was with them when they defeated Og. But God was also with them when they defeated Sihon, king of the Amorites. And the reason we know this is in God's sovereign power. You see in Psalm 135, 11 through 12, that the defeat of both these kings is attributed to God. Even though the nation of Israel went against them, it was God that delivered them into Israel's hands. Because God was always going to be with Israel when he tells them he's going to be with them. If he says you can go up to the battle and you're going to win, you're going to win because God is going to be your protector, and he's going to fight your battles as the ultimate king and warrior. We have to understand as Christians today, God is going to fight our battles as well. It might not be a nation that he's going to wipe out because we're not the nation of Israel. This is not a theocracy. But at the same time, God is going to take care of our enemies. And sometimes taking care of those enemies doesn't mean that everything's going to go beautifully and that everything is just going to go right. But God is always with his children. And when we read in the Old Testament, even when Israel was unfaithful, even when Israel doubted at times, if God said that he was going to be with them and that they were going to defeat someone, that's exactly what happened. So this is Numbers chapter 21, verses 33 through 35. I just wanted to do a quick look to remind you, Christian, that even though the Old Testament's a theocracy and the nation of Israel in the book of Numbers was wandering, God was still with them. God told them through Moses, hey, I'm going to be with you in this battle. I'm going to take care of you, and I'm going to deliver them into your hands. If God says he's going to deliver someone into your hands, you can bank on it. Today, God makes us promises as Christians, and we can bank on those promises as well. If you trust what God said to the nation of Israel, you can certainly trust what God tells you in the New Testament as he speaks to you as a New Testament saint. As always, if the videos on this channel have encouraged your Christian walk and edified you in any way whatsoever, but you have not subscribed to my channel yet and you want to, hit the button. If you want to leave any comments, please do so, but please don't be snarky. Please do not be profane. We want to be Christ-like in everything we say and do as Christians. And until we do another quick look, remember when you read these examples in the Old Testament about God being with his people and the promises that God makes, particularly to defeat their enemies, we can bank on God's promises today. God, if he promises something, even defeating enemies, he's going to do it. And you know what? We need to rely on God in that respect. We need to cry out to God for help and know that in God's sovereign will, if he's going to help you, it's going to come to pass. And you know what? That's a wonderful thing to remember for the God that will never leave or forsake you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and God bless.